scholars went?
You mean the village keepers? Oh, when I was eating dinner the other day, I saw one of them by the side of the road, muttering away and eating mushrooms and tree roots.
Okay. Did you notice anything else?
Anything else? No, I think that's all I have to tell you.
Take it easy.
The scholars that have gone missing.
Those eyes. Those...
Don't change the subject.
Right. You were asking about the the mad scholars. I think it's been a few days since I last saw them. I usually go to bed pretty early, but honestly, I feel quite sympathetic towards them. Even though they act a little strange, they've helped me in the past.
Do you also think Grandpa and the others are...
Grandpa? Oh, hello there. It's little Isak. You mean... He was actually the one who protected my house. I saw it with my own eyes. He happened to be staying near my house that day and was doing... It still feels pretty surreal now that I think back on it. Did someone teach them how to do that? Well, whatever the case, I'll always be thankful to him and whoever taught him to look out for others. I'm pretty sure that if I ever went mad, I wouldn't be able to do anything like that.
Gotcha. Thank you. Sir, have you seen my grandpa recently? You know...
Oh, well, if it isn't Isak. The last time I saw him, he was pacing out by the road as usual. I went and asked him if he'd like any of the food I had prepared, despite my wife's protest. And speaking of my wife, she's still always complaining about how I don't make enough mora. That might explain why...
Oh, thank you.
It was nothing. Hey, you're looking for him, right?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's no good. Well, once you found him, come by my place again and I'll cook a little something for... I've known you since you were very young. So as far as I'm concerned, you're family.
Wow, what a... Okay.
Huh? Don't say anything for now. Let's head over there. Listen, see if you can make out what they're saying.
Have you heard? The mighty Scarlet King, the sovereign of our faith, will soon return to this world.
Yes, of course I have. The Scarlet King is the one and only true ruler of this land. Still, you say he's coming back, but it sure doesn't feel like...
Haven't you noticed? The village has been getting more deranged scholars than ever. Delavar was saying that many people also went insane just before the fall of the Scarlet King's civilization in ancient times. We don't quite know why, but it seems like there's some sort of connection between... Isn't it a sign of the Scarlet King's power that all the mad scholars have disappeared? If you ask me, they must have been chosen as the final sacrifice.
Huh. Now that you say it, that does make some sense. Does this mean our lives are finally going to...
Exactly. Those city folks will get what's coming.
Now, repeat everything you've just said from the very beginning.
Huh?
Who are you?
My patience is running thin. You heard what I asked.
Yeah. Bro, this guy's something else. Just look at his eyes.
Let's not get on his bad side, okay?
Oh, okay, good sir. What is it you would like to know?
Tell me about the Scarlet King's...
Well, I only know a few things from hearsay. I went for a drink the other day and heard others talking about a rumor that the madmen will disappear and that the Scarlet King will return to this land. I'm not making this up.
Hey, go on.
It's true. It's all true, sir. We desert folk have had more than enough of those people at the academia. They keep sending us all their mad scholars and won't let us have a good life. Would you want to live like this if you were in our place? The radicals were even more thrilled than me when they heard the news. We're all praying for the Delavar also said that once the Scarlet King returns to our side, it's only a matter of time before we conquer the land on the other side of the wall. They're all willing to serve under the Scarlet King and fight for—
Is that so?
Seems like he still wants to know more.
Got it! At first, I told myself it was just the drink talking, but then all the mad scholars vanished without a trace. Please don't beat me up just for mentioning these rumors. If I'm guilty, then everyone else around here is also guilty.
The people here really like the Scarlet King, but dislike the Dendro Archon.
Where is this radical person?
I haven't run into him over the past few days, so he probably hasn't been around the village.
No, not at all. We wouldn't dare lie to you.
Sounds like you're not too close with the radicals.
No, of course not. All we know are their—
I have many ways to stop you from talking, and many others to stop you from sending warning messages. So you'd best just stay home and hope I don't hear of you trying to contact anybody. Don't do anything until I've gotten to the bottom of this. Try something foolish, and even Candace won't be able to protect you.
Yes, got it!
That scared Paimon half to death. Sino is pretty terrified. He didn't try to reassure us at all. It's like he's used to hearing that. Oh, Paimon bets lots.
I heard that.
Sorry.
It's part of being a Matra. The rumor we heard just now seems like a strong lead. But we need to check a few more places. Very well.
Isak! I'm here.
Where's your grandpa's house?
Well, I can take you there.
Grandpa, he likes to be alone. Sometimes he stares at the sky in a daze, and other times he just pokes at the ground with his fingers. Every now and then, he yells out at the top of his lungs, so a lot of people are really scared of him. But he's a good person, really. I know he is. I swear, he's just like my real grandpa. This is where Grandpa usually stays.
There sure isn't much here.
No.
Incense? Please don't. But are you okay? Are you getting...
There's a scent that you can sense, but I can't.
A certain traveler here once passed out from that smell. Thankfully, Tainari saved the day.
So, you know Tainari?
Huh? You know him too?
Yes. Now that I concentrate, I can also make out the scent of incense.
Wait, surely Tainari...
No. No need. Did you first encounter this scent at Tainari's house? In the forest.
Take it easy.
What are you looking for, Sign?
Here it is. Take a look right here.
Paimon?
Although the traces have been completely buried in the sand, from the size and shape, they belong to an adult male. This pattern is a common one from this area. Local shoot, the scent is quite faint.
But who would come looking for Grandpa?
We'd have to ask whoever lured him away with the incense.
Huh? So you can lure someone away with just a scent? Hey, what's wrong with liking good food?
Exactly. Most scholars are fond of incense, since the smell supposedly helps them clear their minds and just even deep within the clutches of madness, they still yearn for their knowledge-seeking days.
No.
So someone's taking advantage of their weakness? Huh. Are the rumors really true? Could the disappearance of all the mad scholars...
It's highly likely.
Please, you have to save my grandpa.
Sounds like we'd better help get him back. Don't you worry.
Let's head to Aru Village and inform Candace and the others about what we learned here.
Right. The darker fabric definitely looks a lot better.
We're back, Candace. We've got a lot to tell you.
Ah, welcome back. Sounds like
Oh, Dia's here.
You bet. So,
Reasonably.
I'll hate them didn't...
We haven't seen him at all.
Huh. I saw him around the village entrance earlier and figured he was investigating with you. I guess he must have gone off on...
Did you find out anything I see. So someone used a kind of incense to lead the exiled scholars away from the village.
The resurrection of the Scarlet King? First I've heard of it. Far as I know, the kind of incense you just mentioned is only popular beyond the wall. Scholars are fond of it, but as you can see, there aren't many scholars still studying around these parts. No seller would be able to make a Not to mention making incense is a labor-intensive process. You won't see anybody in the desert with the patience to make or sell something that requires that kind of effort. It seems someone from beyond the wall must have been supporting them.
Makes sense.
So what should we do then?
If it was any other day, that would be your next logical step. But today, you've got me on your team. Didn't you say that the villager got his news from the tavern? Well, I also like to drink at the tavern, so I know a thing or two.
If Paimon remembers correctly...
Ah, yeah. Delavar, the scar-riddled bandit, Engur, the wide-eyed butcher, and Jabari, the duck-tailed... These guys have one thing in common, and that's being broke. The rougher life gets, the more they want to believe in the Scarlet King. Way they see it, the Scarlet King's resurrection is their only chance at overthrowing the academy. Throwing all of Sumeru into chaos is the only way to change the way of life here in the desert.
Tia! You're amazing!
No merc can afford to slack off on gathering intelligence. Every mora I've spent in the tavern has been a valuable...
Let's head out.
Now hold on,
What?
Aru Village is not a big place. Outsiders stand out here like a sore thumb. I'd bet word about you has already gotten out. The desert is unforgiving, so the way of life here is also a lot tougher than on the outside of the wall. Compared to you, mercs like me are just third-rate amateurs. I've got no actual fighting skills to speak of. But that also makes it a whole lot easier for me to gain the locals' trust. I need to go around and ask some questions, but it'll be Good, then we've got a plan. The Traveler and Paimon will go to Caravan Rebat with me, and we'll try our best to figure out where the mad scholars have been taken. Sino, you'll have to...
All right, sounds like a plan.
Sounds like you're starting to get familiar with the area.
Paimon's amazed every time we see the wall of Samiel. How can a
I know what you mean. I had the same question every time I walked this way when I was a kid. Also, why is this high wall here? And can a wall really block sandstorms? It was only after I grew up that I realized the wall of Samiel isn't just there to keep out the sandstorms. It serves a more important purpose, keeping out people like us. Sumeru is run by wise and mighty sages. To them, us desert dwellers are nothing but tools that can be used and discarded at their whim. We're cheap labor, like livestock, but easier to control. Nothing more. Even if a child from the desert got the chance to obtain an Akasha terminal, almost all their requests for knowledge would be denied. The academia believes we're underserving. Geniuses like Sataria are 1 in a million. The other children never get a single chance to try and rewrite their fate, even though the academia knows very well that we're humans.
That's terrible.
I would tear down this wall with my own hands if I could.
Hey, Dia.
No, not at all. This place. Besides, we're here to procure information.
Yep, we gotta.
Shh! Caravan Rebot is crawling with people, so be careful what you say. Our mission started the moment we arrived here. Let's go check out the tavern, maybe. Just our luck. None of them are here today.
You mean you don't see a...
Dia, is that you? What a coincidence. You here for a...
Zaki. Finally, a friendly fate.
Oh, and who do you have with you here? Guests from another land? Hello, hello. I'm Zaki. Dia's, how would you put it?
We've had drinks together a few times. You could say we go back a ways. Anyway, as far as my friends here, they aren't too shabby, are they? You rarely see any Outlanders so friendly.
Absolutely. Much better than those people on the other side of the wall. So, Dia, are you looking for someone?
Yeah. Have you seen Enger, Delavar, or Jabari recently?
Of course I have. Matter of fact, we were all here drinking together.
I've got a spice trading deal from another nation. I thought maybe Delavar and his friends might be interested. Know where I could find him?
Ah, how thoughtful of you. Then I assume you also know that Delavar's been having a hard time making ends meet these days, so you came here to help.
Hey, keep it down. Let's just say I prefer to keep this deal a secret. Y'all at Caravan Rebot are like family. If there's more to be made, why not do it together? Besides, Delavar and his friends have muscle. They'd be a good fit for us.
Yes, how considerate of you. Delavar's my friend too, so of course I can take you to him.
Take it easy. Are we there yet?
Yep.
This place is practically deserted. What are they doing in a place like this?
Why don't you take a guess? Go on.
Oh no! It's an ambush!
What's this all about, Zaki?
Come on, Dia. You really think we didn't hear about what you said back in Aru village? The boys have kept a close eye. Not only do I know that you're looking for Delavar, I also know that you've teamed up with people from the academia.
So, you've been watching us from...
Uh-oh. Paimon knew leaving Sino behind was a mistake.
And you left the strongest one in the village, didn't you? Who do you think you are? You really
So you and Delavar,
Dia, I guess it's only natural for a traveling mercenary like you to be out of the loop. Those of us who hang around the tavern have stronger but you got one thing right. We're all looking forward to an uprising in Sumeru. There's nothing more we'd like to see than the desert folk overthrowing the academia.
if that's the case, then I'm sure Delavar wouldn't miss a second of it.
I'll be honest with you. If it weren't for what you said in the village, your little monologue about the Wall of Samiel would have convinced me that you're one of us.
Delavar. And Enger, you're here too, huh?
Long time no see, Miss Mercenary. You should have known the traitors are what us followers of the Scarlet...
Dia, I thought that you, a fellow desert dweller, would understand that the Scarlet King is greater than the Dendro Archon. Little did I know, you don't deserve to join us.
Yeah, gee, what a missed opportunity. Adopting radical views and kidnapping innocent scholars, all because of some baseless...
See? There you have it. Mercenaries are just a bunch of faithless scum with only one thing on their minds. Mora.
You're not wrong. Mercenaries are driven by Mora, and my faith lies with whoever's paying me. As long as there's a profit to be made, anyone...
Enough talking! Get him!
Just as I expected. Let's teach him a lesson, traveler.
Following orders.
New punch. The range knows me.
Impossible! Ow!
So, what do you think about your meticulous network now, Zaki? How did you say it? It's only natural for a traveling mercenary. I'm guessing your informant told you that I'm just an incompetent merc with no real fighting skills, correct? I mean, that is what I said after all. And of course, you would believe everything he reported. The only thing you know about me is that I'm a mercenary, but you've never seen me in action. Even though you heard we went to handle monsters together, you believed that Candace was the only one doing all the real... That so-called Flame Mane is just a fraud. She admitted it herself. She just uses her connections to gain the trust of others. That's what you thought, right?
You lied in the village because you figured that we'd have people...
And you were stupid enough to fall for it. I figured as much the first time we drank together. You all thought you were so smart. Pathetic. Okay, that should be all of them.
Whoa! So you've been planning this since we were in Aru Village?
No task can be done without preparation. I just happened to notice a couple suspicious-looking people while you were out investigating.
Oh, but instead of
Those two who were snooping around were just a couple small fries. If we want to get the real catch, we have to be patient.
Oh, you mean the funny name she mentioned back in Uncle Ampu's house?
That's just a bunch of drunk talk. Edgar and Delavar like to talk themselves up when they're drinking. Edgar, the wide-eyed butcher, and Delavar, the scar-riddled bandit, are the nicknames they came up with for themselves. Alcohol has a way of making people share what they really think. So Edgar and Delavar are always rambling in the tavern about how the Scarlet King is a superior deity.
What about
He's just a numbskull who fell right into our trap. Zaki was probably the best hidden of them all. My initial plan was to find Delavar first, and then try to track him down. That's what you wanted to ask when we were at Uncle Anpu's house, right? Jabari is one of the villagers you talked to.
Wait, so he's a...
No, he isn't. I just needed to tack on a random villager name to make the eavesdrop.
Wow, what a genius idea!
Ah, you're too kind. It was straight from the usual playbook, if I'm honest.
So, that thing you were saying before...
About what?
About how mercenaries only care about Mora.
Does that bother you? What makes you so sure?
Dia, do you dislike the Dendro...
You two are pretty sharp. No, I don't have anything against the Dendro Archon. I've heard a lot of nice things about the Lesser Lord from Dunyarzad. I can understand her devotion and gratitude. Dunyarzad's just an ordinary person. There's no way a god would be so involved in the lives of everyday people, unless they were truly I've begun to realize that the sages are behind everything that's happened recently. The radicals' blind belief in the Scarlet King, making the Dendro Archon out to be an enemy. It's all the academia's trick, but I see through it all. And unlike them, I can never be hostile towards anyone who's never done anything.
Dia...
Anyway, looks like we're done with business here. Traveler, lend me a hand. Let's... This should be all of them. I'll let you take it from here.
All right. I'll be in touch.
Candace,
Candace will be okay on her own. I trust her, so you can too. She's been guarding Aru Village for quite some time now. If anyone is qualified to question the offenders...
While I'm questioning them, Why don't you pass some time by
I'll meet you back here tomorrow morning, traveler. As for these idiots, let's just hope they live to see it.
Hey, Dia!
Right on time. We'll know any moment.
Paimon's been wondering. You seem to know Candace pretty...
We've known each other for some time now. She's a pretty interesting person. Even though she's an extremely strong warrior, she...
Oh, Paimon knows what you mean. Like a lot of martial artists say.
Yep, I guess you can put it that way. It takes strong convictions to be as dedicated as she is, and shoulder that kind of responsibility. Us mercs, on the other hand, we pretty much live from one day to the next.
Well, Paimon thinks he...
Really?
Oh, Cyno's here.
Yes, I was here yesterday to help out a little.
To help out? By doing what?
Sharing some interrogation.
Oh, you mean you taught Candace...
Right.
Come on in, everyone.
Come on, let's go inside.
Candace, where... Whoa, you look furious.
Do I?
Oh, there's no mask that can hide true bloodlust. Cover up your eyes, and it'll still show itself at the corners of your mouth.
Perhaps I need to work on my composure. Still, it's perfectly understandable why I'm angry. I'm
Yes, yeah. Please, don't beat us anymore. We're gonna die.
Well, looks like Cyno taught her well.
You fear death yourselves, yet you do not hesitate to place the lives of others at risk. The ones you call mad scholars are known to us as the Village Keepers. They are vital members of our community, and some even count them as family. You come here to my village, and you treat my people as nothing more than stepping stones towards your goal. Tell me, what would you do to you in...
Mercy! Please!
You've made your bed.
We may both be desert dwellers, but there is one thing that I understand better than you. The resurrection of the Scarlet King will only result in war. And war serves no... The people of Aru Village care little about which god is in power. Life may be tough and tiring. A war would only cause us to lose all that we have. And that...
We understand. I'll tell you everything I know.
I'm listening.
You might not believe this, but it wasn't us who came up with this idea. Someone was spreading rumors in the tavern. That's how some mystery man told us that mad scholars will make the perfect sacrifice to usher in...
They're called Village Keepers. Slip up again, and you'll regret it.
Yes, sorry. It was all that mystery man's doing. He told us to spread word about the Scarlet King's resurrection and talked us into helping him. I'm not...
That's one.
Huh? One what?
Strike. You get a total of 3. Then, you die by my hand.
Wait, I'm telling the truth. We don't... He got us to lure them out of their houses in the night with some kind of incense. We take them to a junction outside the village. Then the mystery guy takes them... You gotta believe me, please. I'm telling the truth.
That was indeed the truth. Traveler, go on.
You have to believe me. If I knew that, I would have told you his name right away. That guy, he wears a
I believe I may know what's going on.
Uncle Anpu? What do you mean?
Smooth.
Okay.
If my suspicions are correct, this mystery man they speak of could be from the Academia. Some time ago, people from the Academia attempted to take the village keepers away. I refused, insisting that It strikes me now that this secretive character shares the same goal they had.
Which means it's highly likely that the Academia was purposely spreading a false rumor to trick the radicals into delivering the village keepers right into their hands. They were the ones who brought them here to begin with. Now they're trying to take them back? We aren't.
Not the Academia again.
Just as But what could they want with the village keepers?
People are nothing but tools in the eyes of the Academia. Regardless.
You're right. Isak is still waiting for news on his grandpa.
Time to go. Let's leave the village and try to track...
Yes. Pack up and get ready to leave.
You got it. Candace, I'll let you deal with the radicals.
All right.
Let's meet back here when... Huh? Let's get some food in us and then we'll... Where did you come from?
Well, as you can see, I am merely sitting here and reviewing what we have deduced thus far.
You were gone for ages, and now you're suddenly... Hey, what's with the...
You never think things through before asking questions. I'm giving you some time to...
Paimon's so mad! Paimon's gonna give you an ugly... there's just nothing super obvious to pick with this guy.
Well, you've heard nothing to suggest I left this whole time. So clearly, I stayed in the village to... Anyway, you plan to leave Aru village and keep...
Yep. We're not gonna find out anything more by staying here, so we thought that we... Enough with the silent treatment!
No. I'm just surprised that you decided to team up with...
Alhaitham, you haven't helped us out at all ever since we arrived at Aru Village. Bold of you to question our choices.
Yeah, you're a...
While you were investigating, I had my own work to do, which I've now...
Really?
To be honest, we aren't really a team, so I have no obligation. Not to mention that going separate ways allowed me to find some important information that you all...
Huh? Right?
Correct.
What did you learn?
I'm going to take you to someone. But before that, you need to understand where she's coming from.
What does that...
How do you think the residents of Aru Village feel about what we're doing? In other words, do you truly believe every single word the village...
You mean, some of them lie?
Hiding the truth does not necessarily equate to lying. Remember what Gandis said? Most people in Aru Village don't necessarily care which deity is in charge of Sumeru. That's because whether the Scarlet King or the Dendro Archon has power is of little... By contrast, the perils of their daily lives are ever-present concerns. They won't simply share everything they know with you without good reason. That's why you believed there was no further information to be found in this village. Glad you're following along. Among those you have talked to, there's someone who was consciously keeping you out of the loop. In fact, she's been the reason being, to someone who only wants to live their life in peace, any external factor...
Those eyes. Those fierce eyes.
Don't change the subject.
It's quite obvious that she's intimidated by Sino's authority and strength.
Right.
She corrected herself mid-sentence because she's aware that there are Scarlet King fanatics in the village. If she sounds too friendly towards the village keepers...
I think it's been a few days since I last saw them.
Remember? She made a point of denying her involvement in...
But honestly, I feel quite sympathetic towards them, even though they act...
After speaking to the village chief, it became clear that the village keepers had protected Aru Village at night. In other words, the young miss was very much awake during that...
Then, why would she...
By getting involved with an outsider, she risks drawing unwanted attention to herself. As for why she might be so wary about all this...
I'll pass on this one. You said that she is afraid of me. If so, it's best if I stay out of...
We're on it!
Take it easy.
Miss Shawnee, as we discussed earlier, I've brought someone with...
Mr. Alhaitham, I'm aware of where you stand, but how can I make sure that your friends think...
Huh? What do you mean?
Go ahead and talk to her. You go on. Earn her...
Is it really that simple?
May I call you hi, Traveler. Do you think the resurrection of the Scarlet King can truly change Sumeru for the better? Why's that? That's very similar to what Miss Candace says. I know you two are friends. That's why I'm willing to talk to you, even though I do have some reservation. Before, I wouldn't even have the courage to ask. Traveler, do you believe our lives will get better?
Yeah! We came here from another nation, so it isn't wrong of you to be weary. And we aren't really residents of anyone. But even so, we've met lots of people from different places, and we've always fought for... We have friends in Sumeru, and we want to help them. That's what...
I want to trust you. My apologies for posing my questions like that. To be honest, I didn't expect you to come back.
Alhaitham told us you have your reasons.
The fact is that only one side of my family is desert folk. Some believe in the Dendro Archon, while others believe in the Scarlet King. I don't belong to either side.
Speaking of which, the radicals mentioned that they despise traitors. Do they just think that anyone who's different from them?
Yeah. Some people can be so narrow-minded when it comes to bloodline and beliefs. It makes no difference. Slowly, I just stopped talking to people. I pretended not to hear and then it happened. The village keepers who had helped me disappeared with no explanation, and I didn't dare breathe a word about...
You can tell them.
All right. I actually have a sharper sense of hearing than most. Sometimes I hear strange crying sounds in the night. Perhaps. I'm not sure. It's faint, but it's definitely the sound of crying. It comes from far away in the distance. It used to be louder and more frequent. But ever since you arrived in the village, it doesn't seem to happen as often. And
I confirmed this with the guards on night duty. They also have someone with a good ear, and he's heard similar. But because we're in the middle of a desert, you would rather believe that they are the cries of beasts than ghosts.
there's really nothing around these parts, except for an...
I think they used to use it for treating Elazar, but it's been abandoned.
Yeah, let's...
Take it easy.
Ooh, is this the place? Ah, monsters, watch out!
One with nature. Quietly now.
Everybody stand!
Clouds high. The bird.
See? Now it's over!
They were easier to deal with than Paimon had expected. Super strong bandits? Or monsters? He looks super serious. We gotta stay on our A game too.
This is the one. Let's go in and take...
Hey, Hitam, we haven't found Squat. Are you sure we aren't...
Patience. Shawnee says she only hears the crying at night. We have time to burn. Until then... I'm taking a break.
And just like that, he sits. What are you reading? Let Paimon see.
Okay, sure.
Huh? The natural position, which is the positional propensity of an entity in natural motion in contrast with an object in forced motion? Huh? When free from external influences, every entity displays the tendency to follow its natural trajectory?
So, you
Oh, Paimon gives up. You keep reading your book. See ya.
Razak was never involved in any of those things. He never trained in the forest, let alone reach Satyavada life. Leaving that question aside for the moment, him being here alone looks like they've already taken everyone away. For whatever reason, they left Razak here. There are drag marks on the ground. They're clearer by the doorway. Someone was forcefully
Loaded.
That is one possibility. It looks like they were in a hurry. The symptoms are identical.
Huh?
Allow me to jog your memory. Recall your time at Port. Don't you think his symptoms look familiar?
Oh!
Correct. The Academia is behind all. It isn't difficult to deduce the rest. First, the Academia spread a false rumor of the Scarlet King's resurrection, emphasizing the role of the village keepers, the mad scholars who were exiled. These rumors were all the persuasion that the radicals needed, and those based in Aru village leapt, as well as being able to exploit the radicals for their own ends. This scheme has one further advantage to the life for the desert dwellers has been brutal ever since the Scarlet King's death all those years ago. Many would give everything they have for the prospect of something better. And even if complications arise, people will see that those involved are all. The notion of an academia plot would.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. But there's still one very important question. Wasn't it the Academia that brought the scholars to Aru village in the first place? Why does it want them back?
Throughout this process, one thing has changed. First, they were scholars. Then, they became lunatics. After that, they were exiles. An exile is still patently a living, breathing human being. But when someone becomes a missing person, that is brought into question. If you can't find someone, you have no way of knowing what exactly happened to them. That makes missing people in a
resource.
One possibility is that the information in their brains could be extracted into knowledge capsules.
Extracted? You mean, and knowledge comes from...
With the technology of the Sumeru Academia, it's entirely possible. Perhaps the process caused them great suffering, which is why they cry out in the dead of night, when no one is watching them.
So, the human brain... Nope.
I'm the Academia scribe, after all. Anyway, judging by Razak's state, the contents of a divine knowledge capsule were extracted from his or perhaps his curiosity got...
Paimon's a little
The look on your face tells me you've realized the answer. That's right. To some scholars, gaining knowledge about the gods is their entire life's pursuit. However, I can't help but wonder, what do they seek to gain? The Academia is going out of their way to look for forbidden knowledge. But what is their ultimate goal? I've spent quite some time trying to analyze the contents of the divine knowledge capsule, but to no avail. It seems like my way of thinking is too different from theirs.
You mean you're not even slightly interested in getting your hands on this forbidden...
All scholars seek to expand the horizons of knowledge, but I'm not particularly interested in gods, so I don't share their degree of extracting information from people as if they were lifeless objects. If this is the direction of academic progress, then the Academia may as well shut its doors.
Sounds like you're really against all this.
Of course. The Academia's actions run contrary to their, whether it be academics or knowledge. Everything has its boundaries. If those lines are crossed, the rules in this matter needs to be corrected.
Wait, didn't you step in to help because you felt sympathy for those...
Not to be callous, but no. My criteria, there is no shortage of suffering in Sumeru, and the same can be said for the rest of Teyvat as well. What do you plan to do about that?
Probably not. Paimon's not...
You can say that. Simply put, I don't blindly place my faith into strength or heroism. I do what I want. The divine knowledge capsule is something I want to investigate in full. That doesn't mean I'm willing to take action.
Paimon's been wanting to say this for a while. There are a lot of bad
feeling of being the odd one out. Uniqueness is also an asset, is it?
Wow, that's a great way to think about it.
I'm just a more likable person than her in general. There's nothing... He won't last long if we leave him here. We'll work out our next step after we return.
We're back!
You must be tired.
What's the situation?
Unfortunately, somebody who's too young to take on the role of Isak's grandfather. Nevertheless, he's one of the people we're trying to find.
So, at one point in time, the abandoned Elazar hospital served as the Academia's site for
Yep, pretty much.
Their plan must have been implemented at some point before we arrived at Aru village, since Divine Cant and knowledge has been in circulation for a while now. Yet, they fled once we were headed to the village.
We may have a mole in our midst. One of us could be secretly revealing our whereabouts to the...
Huh? Are our friendships that shallow?
Looks like none of you have realized wherein lies the issue. Sino, you're the reason why they can predict our movements.
Wait, what's that supposed to mean?
Choose your next words very carefully.
It is simply a logical inference. I have my reasons.
So what you're saying is... Sino's the mole. Interesting. And here I thought you were the most suspicious one, Alhaitham, since you were always acting alone.
I know. You have a point. But I realized something as we were returning from the hospital. Sino isn't like any of us.
What are you trying to say?
Do you still remember who you are, General Mahamat? As a Matra, you are no doubt privy to certain kinds of information. Before you can take action against someone, you are required to have all the facts available, including the less than savory details. Simply put, the Academia has traditionally allowed you access to a wealth of sensitive information. Knowing their modus operandi, wouldn't you expect them to take precautions against you? If you want to raise a vicious wolf, you need to make sure that you can avoid its bite.
The Academia is...
It's not that simple. The Academia has eyes all over Sumeru, but they have a special protocol for dealing with you. Every so often comes a Nyagarbaha Day. On this day, the Academia enters new information into the account. I remember seeing the thick notebook next to the control panel once. Its contents were all about the General Mahamatra, his activities throughout the day, preferred methods of enacting judgment.
You're saying that the Academia entered my information into the Akasha too? But what's the point in doing that? My actions aren't...
The Akasha is capable of computation. The Akasha's algorithms are entirely capable of predicting your movements using the data entered. When you would depart, the route you would follow, your destination.
It predicted my every move.
The Academia has been watching you longer than you think.
So that's how it is. Sino adheres to his principles so strongly that he's actually a thorn in their side. Tenacity of will and steadfast faith are worthless to the Academia. They need scholars who are easily pliable and mindlessly go after anything they can profit. Sino, don't take it to heart. This just proves how much of a trustworthy ally you are.
They escaped because of...
Don't blame yourself. It's not like any of us would have known.
I have an idea. If they predicted my movements, then I might be able to guess where they went.
Whoa, you bounce back fast.
There is always always an opportunity for safety after danger passes.
Oh, so that's how if the Academia is trying to avoid Sino. Yep, that's
They'll want to proceed in the direction opposite of where I'm going. I must go.
There's also something I want to investigate.
Let's go, guys!
Please, wait! I want to go.
You want to go too?
I want to find Grandpa.
Everyone, I leave him in your hands.
Yay! Let's. Paimon feels like. So, where do we go from here?
Yes. After leaving the village, we should head straight toward the desert.
Take it easy.
I know the desert like the back of my hand.
Is that because you play here a lot?
Yep. One time, Grandpa almost got lost in the desert, but I was the one who brought him back.
There's something here. What's this?
It's buried in the sand.
And Paimon thought running around everywhere was already enough work. Okay. So, we have...
These are likely fragments of an Academia-developed device. Looks like there were more than one village keeper. They must have been escorted this way, because let's split up and search the area. Chances are that...
Is this what we're searching for?
This is definitely a device used to extract divine knowledge.
How did it end up buried in the sand? That can't have been part of... They must have been attacked along...
Wait, what?
Grandpa, I hope you're okay.
Don't worry. Your grandpa's gonna be fine.
Razak didn't display any signs of starvation or dehydration, which means that they left fairly recently.
We should be able to catch up.
One more thing. I believe the attack must have happened prior to the sandstorm.
Let's keep going. They can't have gone far.
But running on sand is so tiring.
But you're flying, aren't you, Paimon? Is flying over sand tiring too?
Of course it is.
Voices, over there. Don't get any closer. They'll notice us.
Dia's talking with the Eremites? Very interesting. Let's listen in.
If you had informed me sooner, there'd be plenty of room for us to...
You're one of us. We would never lie.
Scholars. You don't know as much as I do.
I knew it. That's our deal.
Dia? Why would you... Dia!
Hey, what are you doing?
Huh?
Didn't you say you'd help me find Grandpa? What?
Well, look who's here.
This complicates things.
motley crew. Seen for yourself. I have the means and methods, and my ideals are far more admirable.
I'm not the type that's easily swayed, Raman. You of all people should know.
Wait, what's going on, Dia? Whose side are you on here?
Shut it, Paimon.
It doesn't matter. Whichever side you pick, nothing could deter us from the grand mission.
Face the facts, Raman. It's not gonna happen. You should understand that more than anyone. Have all your years as a merc taught you nothing about placing hopes in a ruler?
I'm a desert dweller and a proud follower of the Scarlet King. Whether I live by the edge of the sword or in...
It's not too late yet. The village mad scholars aren't gonna bring the Scarlet King back to life.
You don't understand, my dear lady. Pursuing our faith is our purpose in life. Even if the chance of success is 1 in a million, we must...
Even if it'll expose you to the academia? Even if they end up disbanding the Eremites? Your Eremites, which you've worked so hard...
Yes. We've waited a long time for this day to come. The sun and the moon no longer shine here. All you see now, with these scholars in our custody, will stomp the Academia's forces and fight...
Ridiculous. Think about it. The Academia controls the entirety of Sumeru. Your powers are negligible. If you still don't believe me, then try asking these 2 men. They're also against the Academia, but
They look more like pawns of the Academia to me. Why would I listen to anything the people of Greater Lord... Filthy traitors. Your god abandoned...
It's impossible to communicate with someone so hostile. Perhaps we should...
Do you really believe that by kidnapping the scholars, you'll be able to negotiate with the Academia? These people have no value as bargaining chips. But I could be persuaded to take their place as your next hostage. These scholars were exiled from the Academia. I, on the other hand, am their current scribe, and will be a much greater
Wait, you can't be serious.
So, you want to trade places with the hostage?
Precisely. Any wise person would gladly accept my offer.
What are you thinking? What if they decide to kill you instead?
Well, that would be bad luck. However, I'd get the chance to observe the scholars. Perhaps...
Think you can talk me over with that confident look of yours?
I'm not trying to persuade you. I'm using this as a means of joining...
You were the scribe.
Not all desert dwellers believe in the Scarlet King, and the same applies to the Academia. Why must all...
You Academia scum. Every last one of you is nothing but a hypocrite, just like everyone else on the other side of that wall. I've made myself clear enough. I won't listen.
Not so fast. I'll hate them. Do you stand by everything you just said?
I never make empty...
You know you're making a dangerous decision.
I do.
Good. Raman, hear me out. These people are my friends. Maybe you can't take the followers of the Dendro Archon at their word, but what about me? Do you trust...
We've known each other for years.
In that case, I'm willing to vouch for their honesty with my right arm. Come on, Raman, don't be a coward. If you're serious about taking on the Academia, you need to steel yourself. You can't be afraid.
Huh. An arm from the Flame Mane. But what if you refuse to oblige? What should I do then? No one's a fool here, Dia. We're mercs. The mercs don't tend to live long unless they have their wits about them.
You're not wrong, but this is different. I promised my friends that we'd bring back the village keepers to...
Let's do it right here, then. Give me your right arm as proof of your resolve.
Don't listen to him! He's not even trying to negotiate!
That's fine.
discussing cutting my own kin to pieces. You've shown me that you're serious. Go on now, take your friends and leave.
Phew. I was really counting on him not going through with it.
That was crazy. Have you all lost your minds? What if he'd
Then I just have to hold my claymore with my left arm. Okay, I'm sorry. But sometimes when you're out on a limb, you gotta double down to seal the—
Don't ever make a promise like that again. I can deal with the likes of them. If it came down to it, you would not lose to them either.
I don't doubt it, Sino. But this is about more than me and them. Even if we got rid of one bunch of radicals, there are others out there.
I'm sorry, Dia. I should have stayed.
It's okay. I promised you I'd help find your
Whatever it takes? You just might be...
Huh? Are you serious?
The Eremites once said that I was a lunatic. Perhaps a little madness is essential to be successful in research.
Why does it feel like he's using his praise for me as an excuse to brag about himself? Okay, let's get moving.
I got a new letter from an informant. Looks like the situation has changed again.
You're all here so early.
Looks like we have everyone here.
I'll watch from a safe distance.
Okay.
Dia, wait.
What's the matter?
I heard that you were quite reckless yesterday. No more of that today, understood? Or I'll be...
fewer people than I imagined.
Bring him over.
Grandpa! Why is there only...
Rahman, I've always thought of you as a man of his word.
It's a one-for-one exchange. Sounds fair. And let me put it this way. Agreeing to any kind of deal with the Dendro Archon's people is already a huge compromise on my part.
You stay right there!
What do you think you're doing? Don't you see this blade here?
You coward. Why are your hands shaking?
Wait a second. It's a earthquake.
Paimon's dizzy.
This day's going
The sand dune collapsed. I saw an energy field. The village keeper protected it. It glowed green with dendro. Just like you said, it may well have been the remains of Lesser Lord Kusanali's power inside the skull. The Dendro Archon.
Grandpa?
Hey, look around.
Did there used to be a temple here?
It seems that when the sand dune collapsed, it exposed the symbols on the gate belonged to the Scarlet King's civilization. It could have been an underground palace in the distant past.
What do you think you're doing? Don't you see this blade here? Earthquake! Oh, a miracle. Praise the...
What's he doing here?
They must have fallen down here with us. Pretty lucky if... most of them seem in really bad shape. Except for him. He got off lightly.
Mind your head.
No, this isn't the time for conflict. Our exalted Lord has shown us the way to his sacred...
He's not actually gonna go and...
As it happens, I want to take...
What are you doing?
Don't you think it's curious? 1 minute, Lesser Lord Kusanali's power protects us from harm, and the next, two major deities are vying to showcase their power to us. It would be a shame not to...
Paimon thought you weren't in...
Indeed. In my view, God gods are new discoveries are always worth investigating.
Raman, what are you gonna do?
I'll just let them lay here. The Scarlet King will take care of his people. Right?
One with nature.
It's full of life here. This defies comprehension. It looked completely desolate from the outside. Yet,
Yeah, and there's so many plants. It's so...
Sir Rahman,
Huh?
do you see another Rahman?
Are you mocking me? What do you mean?
Interpret it however you want, but there's something I'd like to draw your attention to. While this structure is clearly left over from the Scarlet King's civilization, the energy that flows in here is that of the Dendro Archon.
Whatever you say.
There's nothing to be angry about. Think of this as an academic journey.
It does seem kind of strange. If that's true, then take it easy. Take it easy.
powerful priest Kasala. His wisdom is a miracle among the people, deserving of high praise.
You can read ancient Scarlet King.
Of course. Every student needs to master at least 20 languages before they graduate.
He's not serious, right?
There's still something off about this place. The element, the scent of life.
Is this it?
Analyzing.
There seems to be a hidden message among... Excellent. There's a device from the Scarlet King's civilization in this gravesite.
Isn't sharing knowledge?
Yes. However, under the circumstances, I'd prefer you to see this for yourself. You'll understand after watching it.
Civilization is born of knowledge, but so too can knowledge be its demise. A disaster caught us unaware. It was knowledge that did not belong to this world. The Scarlet King brought this forbidden knowledge into our world, and it quickly spread like a plague. People's minds were filled with crazed whispers. Dark gray scales spread across their bodies. Even the land was stripped of its vigor. Only a desperate, deathly silence remained. Were it not for greater Lord Rukkhadevata from the forests, the damage would have been irreversible. She summoned the priests to build temples and infused into them the divine power of life. The disaster was miraculously tempered, and the embers of our civilization were preserved in Aru village. Alas, the miracle could not last. As long as forbidden knowledge continued to exist, it would forever blight this world. In the end, the proud king of the desert, my eternal lord, chose to sacrifice himself. I have spent my whole life since guarding one of these many temples. But now, my duty is coming to an end. As I close my eyes for the final time, the sight of that noble deity will appear in my vision once more. In helping the Scarlet King to eradicate forbidden knowledge, she exhausted her strength, and her form became that of a small child. How strange. Now that I think of her, I no longer have any fear of death, for I sense that the spirit of life will abide with me during my eternal sleep. Children of the desert, cling no longer to past grievances, but hold tight to the memory of this act of benevolence.
What was that?
The priest's memories.
Greater Lord Rukkhadevata. So the former Dendro Archon and the Scarlet King were never enemies at all.
But this doesn't make any sense.
Was that the former Dendro Archon? She became so
You might be distrustful of the Akasha, but there's no reason for you to doubt the Scarlet King's technology. You've just witnessed his priest's last words.
I've never heard about the surviving followers of the Scarlet King all gathered in Aru village. Our god did not make mistakes. We refuse to believe any of the Scarlet King's death. The all but total annihilation of our civilization. It was all Greater Lord Rukkhadevata's doing. We saw her as nothing more than a traitor, who stabbed us in the back in our moment of crisis. To
Give it a rest. You're starting.
My Eremites and I. What are we even fighting?
Hey, how you?
I should probably go.
What's your next move gonna be?
Oh, I know what you're going to ask. I feel deeply ashamed of it, but please, give me some time. After every...
It's not gonna be easy.
Well, I guess that's for me to deal with.
When would be a good time for us?
Tomorrow, I'll convince everyone that we're all on the same side. And I'll return every last one of your your village keepers.
You seem to finally understand that our true enemy is the...
Yes. The gods never gave up on anyone. It's the people responsible for all this that need to face the...
That must have been rough. But he seemed...
Ramon's no fool. Being the leader of your own faction in the desert is no easy feat. It's too bad he was held back by his belief in the Scarlet King. But now that that's changed, I guess we have a few more people on our side.
The outcome, at least...
We should get going too. Let's head back. Sino, we're leaving.
Stop you.
Time to go.
Ramon?
Everything's been arranged. Someone will bring the village keeper...
I guess all I can say now is...
don't mention it. I think we can both agree you went to hell and back for it. But we share a common cause now.
Where are the perpetrators?
I'll bring you to them.
So these are the people who kidnapped the village keepers.
Oh no, it's the scribe!
There's no need to yell. No one can help you now.
We've been all over the desert trying to...
That's right.
General Mahamatra? No, no!
Whoa. The moment they set eyes on Sino, they turned pale like they've seen a ghost.
You should have known that I would be coming for you.
Wait, we were just following orders. You know what I'm talking about, right? There's no way we could have done all...
No, not Sino. He's gonna...
I could do worse.
Please have mercy.
Start talking. Otherwise,
So, your superiors have kept you quite busy recently. Why? What are they trying to accomplish?
They, wanted to extract canned knowledge.
Don't play dumb. You know what I'm really asking. They extract divine canned knowledge. Then what?
I don't really...
Well, you better start talking.
You don't want to make things any more difficult for yourself, do ya?
be my guest.
Uh-huh. That sure didn't sound like a fancy metaphor or anything.
How did you know?
There's no use hiding it now. Yes, you're right. The Academia is working on an important and potentially world-changing project. They are creating a new god. A god that will belong to them and to the people of Sumeru. It may seem as if Sumeru's academics are thriving, but ever since the death of Greater Lord Rukkhadevata, scholarly breakthroughs have been few and far between. The withering of Irminsul has been getting worse recently. The sages have tried everything they could think of, but nothing's worked. I'm always hearing them say things like, if only Greater Lord Rukkhadevata was...
Continue.
And then, someone from the Fatui showed up. They called him the Doctor. He brought a gnosis and said he wanted to borrow the Academia's research facility. The Doctor was previously expelled from the Academia. At first, the sages looked down at him in disdain. But when he said those words, he asked them,
This is what the arrogant ignorance at the extreme end of academia looks like.
First, the Academia spent a long time constructing a divine vessel, which was based on an exquisite humanoid. After that, they harvested dreams via the Seb-Zeru with the Doctor's help, and the Akasha now functioning at maximum efficiency. They were able to use it to extract the power from the Gnosis and convert it into a divine core. Next, they decided that their new god needed to possess divine wisdom. For that to happen, they needed a huge quantity of divine...
It adds up.
But how do you determine whether the knowledge extracted is...
Call it an educated guess? The Academia has been trying to figure out the exact source of the scholar's madness for centuries, but to know of, nobody can explain the cause of this phenomenon. Surely you can see what that implies, Scribe Alhaith. If it's knowledge no mortal can comprehend, then it must be something only gods are able to decipher. In other words, it's the source of the God of Wisdom's omniscience and omnipotence.
You must have noticed by now. The Academia doesn't care about who their god is. It's the ability to exercise control over knowledge and wisdom that matters. It is as if they are cursed with a desire for omniscience and omnipotence that burns it. Some organisms demonstrate phototaxis, and thus orient their entire lives in respect to sources of light. This is but a form of phototaxis. For many scholars, the absence of a god of wisdom means stumbling in the darkness for the duration.
Then what does Lesser Lord Kusanali mean to you? Is she not a true god present in this world? If you already have a new god, why try to create another one?
From the beginning, the Academia has never treated her as a god. When the Academia first discovered Lesser Lord Kusanali, the newborn god of wisdom, the sages hoped that she would be as wise as Greater Lord Rukkhadevata. They found that at the time, she possessed no more intelligence than any ordinary human child. The sages never had a ruder awakening. This forced them to accept that Greater Lord Rukkhadevata had indeed passed away. Not to mention that Lesser Lord Kusanali's Gnosis had been used to power the Akasha this entire time. By herself, she has neither an Archon's raw power, nor the spectacular insight expected of her. Slowly but surely, people began to forget about her existence.
So, this...
All right, let's try to keep our cool. If everyone's in a bad mood, then let's change up our seat. Rahman, give me a few men to help us escort the village keepers back to the village. And these two
Sure.
The village keepers you found have all been returned to their homes, and each one has a dedicated caregiver to look after them. The two new scholars are being kept under close supervision, too. Really?
The atmosphere is so heavy. Hey, say something! Stop spacing out!
Come on, is there nothing left to talk about? In that...
Or I can...
Oh, Paimon!
Do
some information.
Even though we lived through all of this firsthand, it still feels super surreal to hear you talk about it again.
What a whirlwind of a story. Felt like I was holding my.
It seems like there will be more issues to face in the days ahead.
Still, now's a good time to make our next move. Now that Ramon's joined us, we'll be an even stronger team.
It's time to make a plan.
Indeed. These events are a flagrant transgression of the rules in every sense.
So, everyone, are we on the same...
Crush the sages and rescue our god. That is our ultimate goal.
Well, let's brainstorm a little more about what other resources...
The next time we gather here, we must have a solid plan.
Yeah!